Let's bring in the Lieutenant Governor of the Commonwealth of Virginia. Winsome Sears is with us. Lieutenant Governor, great to have you back with us.
Hey, Vince, it's good to be back, and welcome to your listeners.
Thank you very, very much. I want to get to your book here in just a moment. You have a brand new book out, How Sweet It Is, Defending the American Dream, talking about your incredible life. But first and foremost, I want to talk about the business of Virginia. There is a story that our audience is definitely very interested in, I'm interested in, which is that there are a number of school districts in Virginia right now, school systems, who are in open insurrection against the voters who put you and Governor Youngkin into office. Fairfax County, Prince William County, Loudoun County is at the moment undecided on the subject, but they are all either openly defying or preparing to the transgender student policies that your administration put forward. What do you make of this decision by these school districts to outright refuse to follow the law, and what consequences will there be for doing that?
You know, Vince, it's very interesting. We, the Youngkin administration, we are on the side of parents. That's it. And we don't want to get between the parent and child relationship. And so we're not wanting the school boards to do that either. And so the administration put forward policies after hearing from over 70,000 Virginians on their opinions about these new transgender policies. And there's nothing controversial about it. What it says is that all students will be given their privacy. Imagine that. Then it says all students will be treated with dignity. All students. Finally, it says all students will be treated with respect. Now, for some people, apparently that's controversial. And then we're saying parents' rights will be respected at all times. And what you're finding is while we in Virginia are trying to bring more teachers into the profession, they are really driving teachers out of the profession because here's the deal. The teachers don't know one week to the next. What are we doing this week? Who are we not offending this week? What can we say this week that will be okay?
Yeah.
I mean, this is nonsense. And so we are hoping that these school boards will come to their senses because the governor has been charged with bringing forth these policies and they need to be adhered to.
Yes, well, but as you know, when dealing with these psychopaths, let's be honest, in many cases, hope is not enough because the only thing they're going to respond to is some sort of pressure or force. Are there meaningful consequences for them to be in violation of the law here?
Well, I can tell you that this is something that the governor and the attorney general will be looking into. I am not a lawyer, so, these legal matters, I have to be sure that I'm, leaving it to them. But what we can say is we will err on the side of parents every single time. And this is also another reason why I have been pushing for parents to be able to make the decision on where to send their children to school. Because you see, Vince, once you have competition in education, suddenly people start wising up. Oh, did the parents really want to be involved in their children's education after all? Yes. Imagine that. And so we didn't get, very far this past session with it, but that's all right. We are going to keep pushing. We don't give up because parents have said that they want to make these decisions for their children. It shouldn't be that only if you have the, funds that you can opt out of whatever school, homeschool or whatever.
Yeah.
We want all parents to make that decision.
Yeah.
And Vince, the kids aren't even learning. I mean, let's get back to the foundational issue of what is the purpose of school, Vince.
100%. So, I agree with you. And as history looks back at your administration, it'll definitely judge you based on, and you and the governor, of course, on how successful you are in fighting for those parental rights and fighting for those families and fighting for those educational opportunities for children. And I know that go ahead.
Yeah, and by the way, this is not, attack against public schools. No, what we're saying is it's public school, private school, homeschool, tutoring, whatever the parents want to do. It's not a either or. It's a and. So let the parents make a decision. You want to stay in public school? Fine. You want to do homeschool? Fine. You want a private school, parochial school? Whatever it is, You're the parent. You're in charge. We are not going to make laws and policies that separate you, parent, from your child. And then your child comes home confused, and you don't know why you have a child on your hand who needs extra help. Come on.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me one final thought on this, and then I want to move to your book here on the issue of the transgender policy in the state. I'm petitioning you, the Lieutenant Governor, on behalf of my listeners too, that we definitely would like to know what the consequences are going to be for these school districts. And I know that you mentioned you're not a lawyer on this subject. I believe we have Jason Miyares joining us very soon. Yeah, later this week. We're expecting him on Thursday. The Attorney General is going to join us. I'm going to also put this question to him. But on behalf of all Virginia residents, certainly in my audience, we'd love to see, some aggression, more aggression from the administration directed at these schools that are saying, basically flipping the bird to the people of Virginia who voted you into office, Lieutenant Governor.
Well, I mean, look, I'm just as upset about it as everybody else. And so, again, that's why I'm pushing for school choice.
Amen.
And he can answer that much more than I can,
Yep.
But what I'm saying is there's an election this year, everyone. And we have got to make sure that we get to the polls and get to the polls early. We can't start, thousands, tens of thousands even at times down on election day. Go absentee ballot vote. I'm voting absentee ballot this year. And when I got my letter confirming that I am now on that roll, you know what it said to me, Vince? It says, from now on, you will receive a ballot mailed to your home for every special election, a ballot mailed to your home for every primary election, a ballot mailed to your home for every general election. I don't have to leave my house. That means 45 days, Vince, before anybody who goes to the poll and votes. I have a ballot sitting on my kitchen table. If we really care, we've got to get to the polls through the absentee ballots, please, because voting makes all the difference.
It's totally critical, and it'll give you the ability to actually get things through the state legislature that make people's lives a lot better, which absolutely has to happen in Virginia.
Yes, need to win the Senate and keep the House.
Yes, amen. All right, let me ask you about the book, How Sweet It Is, Defending the American Dream. Tell us why you set out to write this book and what people will learn as they go through it.
Well, Vince, you don't ever think that you have an interesting life. You're just living. And I've had a great deal of tragedy in my life. Tragedy was what caused me to join the Marine Corps, and so many different things. How do you handle when you have the sheriff show up at your home at the proverbial 2-3 o'clock in the morning and telling you that your children have died, and so you come up from that, you rise from the ashes, and so when people have heard a little bit of my story, they said, hey, maybe you can help inspire somebody else, especially people who've lost children. And so I wrote it, and I hope that people can understand. You can't walk around in your bedroom slippers and your robe. You got to keep living, especially if you have children left. And for you've got to move forward.
Yes.
Otherwise, what else is there?
Mm-hmm. Lieutenant Governor, how pivotal you're referencing? And I know it's with great emotion. I'm sure it will be for the rest of your life. But you're referencing the loss of both your daughter and your grandchildren back in 2012. Is that right?
Yes.
And as you reflect on that now, and you write about it in the book, how important was that moment in your life towards like your judgment about the way that you would be a public servant and what kind of future you wanted?
Well, for me, I've always been about service. I saw it modeled in my home. I saw other people around me who did it. They cared about helping people to the point of sacrificial giving and sacrificial helping. And I ran a men's prison ministry for 2 years. Loved it. And then I also had a homeless shelter that I was part of when I was working for the Salvation Army for women and children. So helping is not, and service is not something that happened after my children. But let me tell you what happened after my children went to heaven was that I became more aware that life is very short and we need to forgive people, number one. You've heard the saying that unforgiveness is when you drink poison thinking it hurts the other person. So forgive and move on. It's good for your mental health. Also, I also think service is important. I mean, when this life is over, what is the point of it? Why were you here? Was it just to make money? Was it just to make a name for yourself? Do you feel good about how you've lived? So it's all of that. And then it's also me saying to people, you're never too old to do what you think you might be able to do. Don't be 40 and wonder. Don't be 60 and wonder. I didn't start college, for example, until I was 25 and had 3 children under 5. And here I am. And so keep going, keep striving. Life is not promised to anybody. So get up and get out there, and don't let anybody talk you out of your dreams. Try. You never know. You just never know.
Have you found satisfaction in this job, being Lieutenant Governor of Virginia?
Well, I got to tell you, there are days when, things hit you hard and you wonder, did I really ask for this? And there are other days you say, I can't believe I get to do this. I can't believe that I get to speak into children's lives, for example, when I'm talking to them at their high school and saying, look, you are charged with nothing less than the preservation of America for the next generation, and that you have to take your place in society. Or when I get to talk to people who, like me, have they might think they've blossomed late in life. I was talking with Tidewater Community College, the graduates, and I said, look, how many of you thought you could never get this degree? How many of you just had so much work to do and then thought, I'm not going to make it, I'm going to drop out again? And here you are. You keep persevering. And then, there's no place, Vince, like America. And you know who keeps telling us that? The people who are trying to come in at the border.
Yes.
They're even throwing their kids over the fence because they know that America is still the place of second chances. Now, I say you got to do it the right way. We have to know who's coming in. We are a land of laws after all, and fentanyl is coming across the border. You've got sex trafficking. But those people, they are telling us that they believe in the American dream still, and they want America to remain America, and that's what my book is about.
And you say that
the American dream.
And you say that as an immigrant to America. You were born in Jamaica. You immigrated to the United States. You've lived the American dream. You served our country honorably as a United States Marine. Your husband as well. You really do have an amazing story.
Yes, and that's why I hope that it will inspire someone, to say, yes, I may be 59, but I'm going to go do this thing. Finally, I've always wondered, what if? Don't die wondering what if. Yeah. And again, just don't let anybody talk you out of your dreams. Keep going, keep striving. And if you think you have something to offer, then try. What beats a try but a failure? And if you failed, it means you tried.
Well,
you see?
You're totally right. And finally, Lieutenant Governor Winsome Sears, and thank you for your time today. Typically, a memoir, a politician or somebody in public office will release a memoir as a predicate for something that comes next. And so it brings me to an obvious question. Will we see you as a candidate for governor coming up in the next cycle in Virginia?
Vince, it's a great question, but I'm telling you, I am focused on winning back the Senate. We have to win back the Senate, and that is my sole purpose right now. I'm going all around trying to help bring in these new candidates, and so I'm helping to fundraise for them, introducing them, because what we want here in Virginia is for businesses to understand that they are welcome. Because, these beautiful roads we like, the schools we like, the quality of life, they pay for that because they're the job creators. If we don't have them, who is there? The government doesn't produce anything. And then we want the people of Virginia to know that we hear you. We see you. We're trying to fulfill those things that we were elected to do, but we cannot do it unless we have a change in government. We're not hitting on anybody but to say we have to have some common sense come back into government. And common sense is so uncommon, unfortunately, these days. And so that's why the Democrats even voted for us, because otherwise we could not have won. We could not have won in Virginia.
Well, if you're ever ready to announce a public shift in focus, we'll be grateful to have you do it here. Thank you very much, Lieutenant Governor Winsome Sears, and congrats on the book. Again, the book is How Sweet It Is, Defending the American Dream. Thank you very much, madam.